Just going to be a quick tutorial for the game Apple Dodge and how to reskin it, where the files are, just so you can watch this however long it ends up being, maybe 10-15 minutes at the longest, and save you quite a bit of time searching for stuff because you're not familiar with the code. Anyway, so if you download the project, open it up, keep clicking here. Here's where quite a bit of your assets are going to be. Your sounds. So I've got two sounds, and I'll explain that later for when you start, which can be a limited amount of sounds. The song that plays in the background, and let's see here. So these two, belch 1 and 2, are the sounds when you lose the game. And again, these can be in an infinite amount of sounds also. These are a little different. Anyway, so just a note, here's where your main storyboard file is, and your iPad is just down here. And this is it. I don't know how some everybody likes to reskin a different kind of way, but I like to go manually into the folders and do things on my desktop and then drag them in from other folders. Anyway, I've got these in green, which you have to change, and you'll want to. The icons, launch images, which these will be, I guess, organized a little bit. Some of them don't have the sizes right here, so just click. I mean, most of you guys know the sizes, but just come in and check it out if you're not familiar. Anyway, so launch, background, I've got them the same, but you can obviously do anything you want for launch or background. Your character, this is a object that's going to be dodging the apples or whatever it is you make him dodge or it dodge. And then I made it a little different, so when you lose a game, what I did is just have his head tilt a little bit. You really don't have to. You could put the same image in, but I wanted to have it change a little bit when you lose a game. And then this is the object you're going to be dodging. So in this game, it's an apple. And again, I wouldn't change the sizes of these at all. I would, I think they're 250. So what I do a lot of times, because everybody does it different, I'll see like, okay, there's a little bit around the edge here where it's not right up to the end of the boundaries. So when I create my images, I'll just get a transparent, background and create the same size, and then set this one up here right next to my other one, and then paste it and then scale it, and that's it. Just so it's the same. Because you'll see in the code you can change these sizes, but just to have it right off the bat with the settings we've set up, it's best if you have the sizes of the images exactly the same and kind of within the same reason on the borders. These you don't have to change. Some of the menu buttons you might want to. We've got them set up in the storyboard. I'll go over in a second. And then remind me, I guess I shouldn't say remind me, but remind yourself where you saw these images. So in this file. So if you want to drag in custom images for your game at all, or you want to change these out or change any of the buttons, this is where you're going to drag them in this main folder here, and they'll show up. So when you're working in the storyboard, if you want to do that, you'll know where to find them. So I think that's about it here. So let's go ahead and open up the project. Okay, so everybody always laughs at my bundle IDs. I don't do them in the reverse domain style. I never really saw the point because I'm the one doing it, and it's a lot simpler just to have it like this, especially with a lot of my profiles, provisioning profiles. But come in here once you get all your stuff set up. This is a good example. Anything that says fix issue, it might be there, it might be the iCloud, but wait till you have your bundle ID and your version, and then you've assigned your profiles here. Here's where your AppLovin key goes. This is where your bundle ID that goes under the icon, which you'll see. And again, some of you guys have probably done this a million times and you don't need to see this, but while I'm in here, I might as well just go over all the things you're going to have to change just for those that haven't seen it. Facebook ID. And one other thing I want to note, this is where admanager.m, and it's in the notes, you're going to see this number right here showing ad. Right above it, 3. I have it every 3 times you lose the game, an ad is going to show. And they're also like a double pop. So if you set up your chart boost, which I'll show you where that ID is, and you put in your SDK key for AppLovin and configure your campaigns like a more apps page on your chart boost and an interstitial, and then you have them turned on the AppLovin, both ads are going to hit every time you launch the game and every however many times you want them to lose and see an ad. Now I do that just so you can show either or. I mean, I don't have 2 ads on at once. If chart boost is working better for me, I'll turn AppLovin off, and vice versa. So I don't have to submit an update just to change what ads I'm showing. So this is where you will change that if you want to. Here's where quite a bit of all your changes are going to be for settings, and it's so organized and it's so cool. All the settings that are in here we've set up. I'll just go through them real quick. So I guess I did make a mistake there, showing you the admanager.m. We have moved it, I forgot about that, to here. So this is where you're gonna see how many times you should lose to see an ad, so don't worry about this anymore. Don't worry about that number. Alright, next thing here, this is, you can change the position of where the object is that dodges the things that are flying at you. We've got it set up, and most of these I have the default here, so if you change it, you don't have to re-download the file to see where it was at. I wouldn't mess with this too much because it's right where it's good, where your thumb is or whatever finger you're going to use to slide back and forth. You have enough room there. If you have the free version and you have ads running like banner ads in the bottom, it doesn't hit those ads, but you can still see the character to slide back and forth. However many things that fly, I'm just going to speak in apples, because that's what this game is about. So I don't have to keep saying objects. So this is the amount of apples you have to dodge before the next wave, and then down a little further you're going to see the delay in between each wave. That could probably be beside each, or right after the other one, but I suppose might as well do that just to make it easier. Okay, so the delay, and again, these are set up so the game plays pretty well. Depending on how hard you want to make it or easy, you can change it all. How long you have until each apple flies from the screen, up top, or when the layout changes from the bottom. Speed of the ball, and then here's the sizes, so you can change the images. So if you've got the images set up the way we do, 250, 250, these you can make it big or little, and the collision zones actually change with this setting right here. So you don't have to worry about that. So right here you can make it easier or harder on how quick it gets, and then the speed of which the apple comes at you, again, easier or harder. And then this is a number, however many times you have to die before the layout changes for the most part. So I have it at 3. So every 3 times you get hit by an apple, just when it's funny when somebody first plays the game and they think they got the hang of it, and then right about the third time they lose, and then all of a sudden it's upside down. And there's one thing I do want to say about the upside down that I skipped over. It was a yes or no. Here it is. Oh, it was right after that. Character should rotate 180 degrees when the layout turns over. Now I have it at no, because basically what this would do, let's say you're on the bottom and all the apples are flying from the top. Now it goes from the top. I guess it depends what character you're using or object. If I had that at yes, the character up here, his face would be upside down. So again, depends on what you're using. That could help you, or for me it didn't work because I want him face up here because he's dodging the apples, and then I don't want him upside down up here, so I said no. Again, here are the sounds that I played a little bit in the folder, and if you see here, you can add any amount. As many as you want. All you have to do is drag your, so like for me, if I was going to add 5 more and they were cheers at the beginning, I wouldn't have to name them cheers just to make it simple. I would just cheer 2, cheer 3, and I think they are case sensitive. So drag them into your folder, put the names here, and you should be good. And if you do have any issues, like let's say you just add it right off your desktop into your assets folder and you already have Xcode open, sometimes it acts up. Even if you have it closed and you come in here and it's trying to pull and it doesn't see them right away, or it might be red. So what you want to do is have your folder, if it was here and I was adding a new, I would be dragging, oh, it left, but I'd be dragging it into here. And then I'd probably close Xcode and start it over, and it would see it and it'd be fine. Okay. So then you just have one non-consumable, remove ads if you're doing a free version. So put that here. This is your AdMob ID. Set that up in the dashboard. Chart boost, ID, signature, you're good there. If you want to use analytics, I just started using this with Google. Used to use Flurry because I don't really use the analytics that much. So just as long as I can see users, I guess it's good for me. Little share string that it's like local notifications. So this is one thing I didn't put in the written documentation, but I found it the other day with a different, I just searched for local notifications right there. So it's set for 3 days. I'm actually going to change that to 2. So every 2 days it'll come up, whatever you write here. Leaderboard ID, set that up, and this is just, your name. Again, whenever I'm reskinning and I think I have it all done, I'll come in and write the name that I was reskinning, and make sure like they're pointed it out there, and here, just make sure I don't miss something. Maybe even like that, I would have missed that one. I would have missed Dodge, or apples. Just put in your URL for the app in the store. Even though it's not live, I'm sure you know how to find that in iTunes Connect. Just then I went to GeoWrite and shortened it up, and then you can also click on your icon on the dashboard, iTunes Connect, and get this URL for your icon, and it'll pull that for when this is for Facebook when you share, so it'll just pull from that. The only other thing I do want to go over real quick is in the storyboard. So this game is pretty cool. It's set up to where the images are, oh, this will be a good example because I deleted that file to clean it up. So this is going to be a good example. the background, you're not going to see it here, but it's obviously set up for the image, the background image that you have set up, and you're not going to see it here, but it's there, and it also applies to the, because it's a game screen, to the game over. So it looks white, but really it's the image that you set up for the background. Now for the buttons, you saw some folders in there that aren't marked with green. They're buttons, and again, I was trying to clean up the folder with old stuff, and I deleted the rate button. So it doesn't know where it is because I've deleted it. So, and I didn't like it anyway, and I think it was an orange button. So what I'm going to do is take this away, and I'm going to change it to rate, and it's in white. Do caps, and I'm going to match the font with everything else, which is here. And since most of these are all buttons that I'm bringing in, I think that'll be close, and I'll go down to the background and find my orange. It looks square, but it will curve once you run it. So that's how you replace a button. But again, if you want to change any of these, all you got to do is drag any image you want, and it doesn't have to be this size. You can do whatever you want. You drag your images into that folder. Remember seeing this in the image assets folder. Again with this, some of them are in folders, but I just like to see what I got there for the new ones that I drag in, so I leave them out of folders. But drag them in there. Let's say you have your own version of this, and you just click on it, and then you'd come over here to background and click on it and choose the image. And then you also can change it from scale to fill, aspect fit. You can do quite a bit of things there, so you'll have to experiment how you want to do it. Easy to come in if you didn't see, because these are images, but like something like this, just like the rate button, if you want to change the color of that, you just come down, you see where it's orange, you change the color. If you want to change the font, you can move the 0 over here. Be careful when you're in here moving around, or you're going to drag your game screen off and it's going to be crooked. Don't worry about this. This is a tutorial screen. See, look at that. I just did that on accident, and it would have been all cattywampus. But again, I deleted the button for a tutorial. I didn't think there was going to need to be much of a tutorial on how to dodge an object in a game. You'd figure it out pretty quick. So the game over screen, again, we used we had some other features in another app to where there was different modes, and just use your common sense here. None of this has changed, so you don't have to worry about it. You just have to worry about this row right here. Game over. Come in, change anything you want. If you want to, most recently I was doing a different game, a little similar to this, and instead of just having, again, instead of having these all separate in here and using the fonts like this, which I love now that I know how to do it because it'll scale, because before a lot of games that I've reskinned of other people's code, I'd come in and I'd get ready to do the reskin, and there'd be a million images. There'd be like 5 or, and that was before iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus. So let's say it was a title button and the folder said title, and then you'd come in and it would be for this image here. If you didn't have more than one size, it would stretch it and it would look all crappy. So instead, it's cool to do it in the storyboard, and it'll scale on its own and look really good. I mean, this will do the iPhones, and then you have the iPad. But again, what I was going to say is, instead of just having like an apple here and an apple here, I just wanted to add another game I was doing tons of them. Let's say I wanted to have, and now I wish I would have done it. To this, I'd have to submit an update, but tons of little apples. I would just go over here, go down to image view, right here. And again, I usually try to be careful. I'll put it right over to where I'm going to drag so I don't screw it up. And then you bring it in, and then you can see the pixels like this. and then I would match whatever this is if I didn't want to. So if I'm doing an apple, let's say I want to do more. Let's say I want this guy to come in. I put him up here. So because these, let's say this is a good example, I'll show you just like the buttons. It's 9785, and I've got this image squared in pixels wherever it's at. In the folder, it says scale to fit. Well, I don't want scale to fit. I'd want aspect fit because I'd want it to look good. Or you could have it on scale to fit and actually just do the right pixels. That's how I do it, because then you can match them. But then you can add as many of those as you want, and tons of apples. If you want to add another text box, no, I already went past it. Label right here. Just put it in here, drag it, whatever size you want. Now again, if you want to just create this once in Photoshop and come in and say, I'm not going to screw with this storyboard crap. Just bring it in here. Okay. Get it out of the way. And then drag your, try to have the pixels kind of horizontal, or to kind of have an idea how you're laying it out, and then come in and just go down to the sorry, I was thinking about something else. Just go down, and once it's dragged in the folder, just put it in, and then however you want to do it, aspect fit, and then put it right here, and then now you're not doing 3 objects and 2 text fields to get what you want. But again, I don't know, it might not scale correctly. So same idea over here in the iPad. You're only working with 3. See, I got to change this now too. You're only working with 3 of the screens. That image is gone. I didn't like it anyway. Let me just go ahead and put orange in here. I love this because you can put your recently used colors in here. Great. I like that font. I guess I do like that font. I guess I just don't like the size. Right. Again, make sure it's centered. It looks square, it'll look fine. It'll be a little different than these buttons, but because I created these in Photoshop, and not, these are just gonna round a little differently, but it's okay for what I'm doing. So there it is. There's your game screen. And see, I've actually made that game screen white, so I suppose I could do that. Let me test something real quick. I just want to see. Yeah, I know I need to clean my computer. I just kind of wanted to make sure that was good. Too many things running. Okay. It's kind of funny because over in the other version I've still got this black, and it's really not a big deal. Again, this doesn't even need to be that color because it's pulled from an image anyway, so I guess just for the heck of it, I'll get rid of that over here. It's your game screen. Pulled from an image. But other than that, you can do tons of editing with the buttons, whatever you want, change it out, make them custom, you can move them around, you can do custom title here. I'd be careful you don't delete the buttons, because then you got to go in and redirect those. This is going to be your Chart Boost More Apps. Make sure to set that up when you set your ID up. The Chart Boost dashboard. Sorry about that. Long day. And that should be all you need. If you haven't done it before, make sure you come in here. Actually, you don't need to, but rename your project. And once you rename it, come in here, Manage Schemes. Click on it, delete it, auto recreate it, and then you should be good. But again, when you're getting ready to upload this, and I'm not trying to be a broken record, but really come in here and make sure it's all set up. You got your versions, you've got your capabilities, and make sure everything fix issue if any of it's red, and make sure your profiles are correct. Like mine, just clicking around, they're off now. So I'd have to put those back in there and just make sure everything's good, and that's about it. So sorry I kind of rambled on there at the end. I just really want you to have as much information as I can provide you with, because when I first started out, and maybe some of you are experts, and hopefully you wouldn't have watched this long if you're an expert, wasting your time. But um, all these how to do or how-to videos, when I started out, you'd have to pay for, and there were courses, and I'm sure they were great, but they were like $300 or $400, and it's some of the stuff you needed, some of it you didn't, and it's like, here you go. This is a code you're buying. I'm gonna open it up. We can look at it. And again, I'd love, a lot of times when I see a game, I just want to see the behind the scenes and the folders, how the folders are lined up, if it's in the storyboard, what that looks like before I buy, because I don't want to just buy something that's a piece of shit and know that it's going to take forever to reskin. Um, or let's say, like in a few of my other games, we hadn't converted it to a PNG for your background, so it was just solid color. I mean, you want to see these things before you buy. So, and by the again, don't worry about all this stuff. Just worry about this middle area. So, thanks again for the purchase. If you haven't bought it and you're thinking about it, I think there's tons of customization you can do here with not only the settings, but the themes are kind of just as wild as you can make them, especially with the holidays coming up. And if you have any questions, shoot us an email. Thanks a lot.